Next up, we're going to change between radians and degrees and radians. Then we're going to look and remind you how to graph them. So the way we're going to do this is I want you to remember that in order to change between different units, we can simply use conversion factors. So if I want to change 30 degrees into radians, all I have to do is I remember that 180 degrees is the exact same thing as pi radians. And again, remember why I wrote it this way. Degrees are on top and bottom so that they cancel, and my answer is then going to be in radians. Now, you could plug in 3.14 for my pi value here. I don't want us to do that. I'm going to leave the pi in there, and I just want to reduce my fraction. So 30 and 180, I can reduce. First off, I can mark it off and divide by 10. So if I divide this by 10, it gives me 3. Divide this by 10, it gives me 18. Then I can divide each of them by 3. Divide 3 by 3 gives me 1. Divide 18 by 3, it gives me 6. So on top, you're left with 1 times pi, which is just pi. On bottom, you're left with 1 times 6, which is 6. And that's now in radians. So to remind you how to change it back, it's much easier to change it the other direction. And we can check it this way. Since I know that pi is 180 degrees, if I were to divide 180 degrees by 6, that would give me my 30 degrees back. So now let's try to work one the other direction, like we just did. So anytime I'm dealing with pi units, again, I can simply, this is in radians now, I can simply plug in 180 for pi. It makes it so much easier. 3 times 180 gets you 540 degrees. Now you're in degree form. 5 pi over 6 would be 5 times 180 over 6. My suggestion is, since there's no plus or minus signs, is to actually reduce the 180 and 6 first, and then multiply it out. So if I reduce 180 and 6, since I know 18 divided by 6 is 3, then I know 180 divided by 6 would be 30. Then 5 times 30, I know 5 times 3 is 15, so 5 times 30 would be 150. Now that's in degrees. Now some of them you can't do that way. Sometimes you won't have your pi symbol left in there, and you'll have to work it the way that I'm about to show you. So again, I know my conversion factor, and this is in radians. So I know that pi radians is the same thing as 180 degrees. But notice here, since this is in radians, I put my radians on bottom. So now to actually find out this answer, I'm going to multiply out 2.73 times 180 on top. And I get 491.4. And I'm going to divide that by pi. So, or 3.1459. And that gives me 156.4 degrees is how we convert that. Now, to go back and remind you how to graph each of these, I forgot to graph them as we went. So 30 degrees, if you don't remember your graph, this is 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and then all the way back around would be 360 degrees. So 30 degrees would be a third of 90, so it's going to be about right there is where your 30-degree angle would be at. Let's see, the next one we did was 3 pi. We'll try to go ahead and graph it. 3 pi is the same thing as 540 degrees. Now, reminder that 360 is all the way around. So my suggestion is to take that 360 off and you get 180. So that pretty much means we have to go all the way around 360 and then to go another 180. So 540 degrees would be a full rotation, but would end up right here at 180 degrees. The next one we did was 150, or 5 pi over 6. Again, 180 is right here, so 150 degrees would start at 0 degrees and would go to about right here, which is 30 degrees short of 180. So that's what 150 looks like. Then 156.4 would pretty much be right there in that same spot.